All right, I think I'm live. I'm trying to go live on something else. So bear with me, y'all. Okay, I think we are on. So, well, I'm frozen. Anyway. All right, guys. I'm guessing I am live right now. So, welcome to Baby Doll and Wrangler's Happy Hour. And the first thing you'll notice, it's just me. Baby Doll, she left me in the dust, left me to fend for myself. I hope I make it. I hope you're all listening. I hope you all had a great day today. Uh, Thursday, February the 19th, 2026. Maybe you have a hard time saying 2026. It is, where did time go? Time keeps going. I just realized in 2 months from today, no, 3 months from today, I'll be 58 years old and asking myself, how did I get this old? But anyway, uh, enough about me. So let's go right into, I'll be brief on this, right into the stock market report. I might be brief on this. But anyway, the market sold down a little bit today. The Dow was down over 200 points. The NASDAQ was down. Hello, Melissa. How are you? You notice it's just me, myself, and I tonight. Baby Doll is doing, I'll get back to the stock market. Baby Doll is doing Limitless Ladies somewhere in Plano or Dallas. I'm not sure where. But anyway, they are meeting as we speak. And they're expecting, I think there's going to be a pretty good turnout for it. But anyway, I hope it goes well. And I hope you all bear me, just tolerate me for an hour. I'm usually funnier with her, but we'll see what happens. So, stock market report. Like I said, the Dow was down a couple hundred points. The NASDAQ was down, I believe, a little over 100. Weird markets, as I've been saying, since we started doing this. Been in a range since October. I think we're going to have a big sell-off. I keep saying it. But I'll tell you one thing that I started thinking more of today. Because as some of you know, my main line of business, I'm in the oil and gas business. I actually produce oil and gas in the state of Texas. And so I pay attention to the commodities such as oil and gas. I also pay attention to precious metals like gold and silver, along with the stock market itself. But one thing got me thinking today, I was watching the price of oil going up. And the reason why it was going up is because of the situation between the United States and Iran. The threat of war, because it's Iran, I don't know if they're super great negotiators or what, but it's been going on for as long as I can remember. I can remember back in the 70s when I was just a little pup, what was going on with the hostages and this and that. And they've always seemed to be stirring up the forever in the Middle East. And, the U.S. doesn't want them to have nuclear weapons. And I think most other countries, whether they come out and admit it, I don't think they want Iran having nuclear weapons. That's just my humble opinion, So anyway, but it seems to be heating up. We have a large military presence over there. We have a aircraft carrier over there. We got a second one on the way. Matter of fact, the largest one we have, which I believe is called the Gerald R. Ford. And we got a lot of armory over there, and I just don't know. If we go into war, I think that might cause a crash of some scenes, although by the defense stocks, we don't know who they are. Send me a text message, and I'll tell you who they are. But Raytheon's one, even General Electric, Boeing's one, Lockheed Martin. Actually, they're now, Lockheed Martin, ticker symbol LMT. There's a bunch of them. You watch those stocks go straight up in the air if we actually get into some type of skirmish that lasts longer than a day over there. And it kind of, what I've been reading, it kind of sounds like we might be heading that way. Nobody wants wars, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. Hello, Danielle. How are you? And I hope Israel's with you. By the way, we had some TikTok issues tonight, so we're not on TikTok. But if you're used to seeing us on TikTok, it's not my fault. That's all I'm going to say. It's not my fault. So anyway, sports is getting a little more exciting. Why? Because the NBA is done with their break, and they are playing as we speak right now. So the second half of the season starts. I'm not a huge basketball fan. It's the second half of the season, but it'll start getting more exciting in the next month or two when it gets closer to playoff times. So your favorite teams will be trying to earn the spots or the end. The Olympics are going on. I think there's another week to go in the Olympics. But we'll see. I'm still having a hard time watching it. It just, I've had no luck, whether it's my timing or the time changes. I don't know. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. BabyDoll, what do you got to say? Oh, yeah, she's not here. So anyway, it's all me. I don't know if I can make this last for an hour, but I'm going to give it one heck of a try. So we were talking about reset last night. Resetting relationships, resetting yourself, resetting anything. Sometimes you got to take a reset. So I have this little cheat sheet the BabyDoll set me up with. I'll try to follow it, but I know me, I'm going to wing it. It's just the way I am. So, we'll see what happens. But, last night we were kind of talking about, resetting love, resetting relationships, your boyfriends, your girlfriends. What's a relational reset? I'm kind of scrolling back up at what we talked about last night. By the way, I tried getting ready for this thing. I just don't know any other way besides wing it. And I'm not a very good reader, so you won't see me reading a lot. But resetting a relationship, what is a relationship? A relational reset. What is it? Some people say it's cutting someone off. Some people say it's recalibrating how we show up. Yes, I just read that, but I don't know what I said. So anyway, there's a lot of things you can do in a relational reset. One thing I could advise doing is take a step back. Take a step back. And number one, before you say anything to anyone, your wife, your husband, your significant other, your friend, maybe it's a group, before you say anyone to anything, i.e., they call it complaining, or they just maybe so miserable with that person. And you know what? When I say take a step back, walk into a room that has a big mirror and take a good look at yourself. You know why? Because you might need to reset. But when I tell BabyDoll to do this a lot, and because I do this myself, I like to take a good long look in the mirror every once in a while and just kind of ask myself a few questions. And they can be any questions, like what are you going to do today? What are you trying to accomplish today? What do you want to do good for someone else today? Just anything you can think of. Because it really, when you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're looking in your own eyes, eye to eye, you will start thinking. And most of the time it's in a very positive way, so it's a good, and where I'm leading with that, as far as a relational reset, is before you jump on your husband, or for your husband to jump on, it gets in your face. Sorry. You gotta be calm, because if you're not calm going into it, if they're not calm going into it, you're not going to get anything accomplished. And we talked about that a lot last night. Here's some things that I'm going to read here. Set boundaries, new tone, new expectations, new communications, new access. What's all that mean? Communicate. That's what it means to me. You communicate. Boundaries, you know what? If you're in a relationship, you should have a pretty good idea of where the boundaries are on both sides. What's your boundaries? What's their boundaries? And if you don't know, again, communicate, you know, because, you know, I'll tell you one thing, BabyDoll gets upset with me, and sometimes I will tease a lot, and I might call someone a funny nickname. Well, she doesn't like it because it might not be, she's worried about I may have offended them. And you know what? It's a very good point, because some people don't like getting teased. And I got to remind myself of that, especially as I get to know people, that, you know, okay, I can have fun and tease them. You know, in a polite, when I say tease, I'm not calling them names or whatever. It just kind of means I can, you know, drum up a good laugh. You know, but some people, they take that very offensively. And, you know, those are the ones that, you know, they may be looking for some type of help, and you just don't know it. So you got to be careful with that, especially with strangers that you meet for the first time. But, you know, when you're having a relational reset, you know, easiest thing I think a lot of people say to each other is, I'm so done with him. I'm so done with her. I'm just done. I'm done. You know, so you in your mind, you're throwing that person away. Okay. Easier said if it's a stranger in your life. Okay, you can be done with a stranger. You know, there's no reason why you have to be around that. But you know, when it's your wife or your husband, maybe a child, you can't throw them away. You're stuck with them. So make it work. Make it work. And by the way, if it's your wife or your husband, you got married. So you still love them no matter what. So you work it out. Even if you go through a divorce, you know, I'm sure you still have some love. And I've been through a divorce. You know, you have some care or concern for that person you used to be married to. It would just, now there's some instances where that's not true. But you know, we all make mistakes. But, you know, talked about that last night, you know. She sent me off the right, you know, how to reset with people. Confront them. Are you hurt? You tired? Expecting them to be with God? Sometimes what needs resetting, and I just said that, it's not them, it's you. Think about that. That's why I went to that whole mirror speech, you know. But think about that. You know, you just, hey, Butterfingers, hello, Heather, how are you? So, you know, take a good long look at yourself if you're having problems with the relationship. You know, start with you first. Start with you, and then, you know, work with your other person. Communicate clean. We talked about this a lot last night. You know, don't be aggressive. Calm, cool, collective. Calm, cool, collective. If you don't know what that is, just watch me. I'm always calm, cool, collective. And when I raise my voice, I'm usually out of sorts, you know, and I bet anybody's out of sorts when they start raising their voice, because what are you doing? You're putting the mitts up. You're putting the mitts up. You're getting ready to fight, you know, verbal fighting, not physical. Hopefully it's not physical, especially if it's a man and a woman. Men that hit women are worthless pieces of you know what. So y'all hear me? I'll make that clear. They are worthless. You know what? Get out, get away, get help, get away from that person, because it's crap. And by the way, if you're getting verbally abused, I don't care if you, or the man or the woman, if you're under constant verbal, what is it? You know, you get fit, you know, if you're getting attacked physically and verbally, constantly, it's probably not going to work out. So, you know, sometimes you can do a hard reset and say bye, you know, but that's after a lot of time of trying. But, you know, men that abuse women, I have zero tolerance for that. And I hope you all do too. And if you're some men out there watching this, hear me loud and be proud. Do not ever lay a finger on a woman. I don't care what the situation is. Even if it's self-defense, you know what you do? If it's self-defense, You're probably bigger and stronger than the woman you love. You know what? You walk out the door, get in your truck, car, whatever, moped, and drive away for a while because, it's not rational. Um, so, what is this? I don't even know what this means. See, Baby Doll leaves me on my own. I'm clueless because normally she'd take over this part and say, come on, and talk. And I'd sit there and say, yeah. But anyway, it says, adjust access. Everyone doesn't get the same access anymore. So I can interpret that in my best way possible. If you're doing a relational reset, you may have to change some of your. Actually, I'm going to put it in a way I can't talk. Let's just say you're going through an addiction, and I'll tell my story. So I'll tell my story and how BabyDoll played a big role into it. So when we quit drinking, as a matter of fact, it'll be 8 years and 2 days. We'll be celebrating 8 years. But when we quit drinking, as most of you know, I was a bar drinker. I didn't drink at home hardly at all, unless I had company over. I didn't come home. I didn't open a bottle of wine. I didn't pour a glass of whiskey. I didn't drink a beer. I hardly ever drank at home. And I think a big reason for that is because my dad drank at home all the time, and he was an asshole, when he was drunk. Sorry about the language there. It just slips out of me. But, when it comes to when I quit drinking, I was a bar, as you said, I was in the bar all the time, and I had a group of buddies, friends, other drinkers. Most of them were alcoholics like me, and most of them were pretty lonely like me. And that didn't make them bad people. It just, it's where people like that get together. And, one thing that she said, if you're going to quit drinking, you can't go hang out at the bar with your buddies. And I had a hard time believing that. I really had a hard time with that. And it took me a little bit to do it, to do it. And finally, I decided to do it. I didn't completely shut those people out of my life, but I distanced them from a very long ways. I still to this day occasionally have text message with some of those people, very rarely. But if I would have kept hanging around that bar and kept hanging around those people and again, they weren't necessarily bad people. So I want to be careful because, some of them actually called and asked for help and stuff like that. But, if I would have kept hanging around them, I would have fell right back in. I would have relapsed, started drinking again, probably not had a relationship with BabyDoll, probably would have got married and all that stuff. So, that's kind of a hard reset, and maybe that's what you need, no matter what the situation is. I relate it to alcoholism because it was very real, and I went through it. I still kind of, it does get weird, Heather. And I still kind of go through that today at some point. If I go out of town and, maybe I have a lunch with a client or a vendor of mine, being in the oil field business, drinker's one of the qualifications to be in it. So I'm still in the oil field business and I drink, but, it's nothing to go out to lunch and the people you're with will order some type of drink. Or they say, hey, let's get together and go have dinner tonight. It depending on how big the group is and whether I need to be there or not, I might not go. If I'm required to go and need to be there, I'll be there. But, I have no problem when everybody's ordering drinks. I have no problem ordering my favorite, Pepsi Cola. And I flat out tell them all, I said, sorry, guys, I don't drink. I quit a long time ago. And you know what? Most of them are pretty darn cool about it. They really are. As a matter of fact, some of them, I've had several occasions where we're like, how'd you do it? How'd you quit? Because obviously they must have had some issues. So, doing a hard reset, adjusting the access, who has access to you and who has access, doesn't have access to you. If you're dealing with addictions, I think you can figure it out for yourself. Some people can't because they're so far gone. And that's where hopefully, those people have friends or family that reach out to them and you can get through to them somehow. It's AA, where on the steps is, say sorry to everybody you've hurt in the past. And they say sorry for like your whole life. Man, that list was so darn long. I didn't know where to start. I'm not trying to be funny about it, but it's true. And you know what? A lot of those people you'll never talk to again, which is kind of a good thing. But a lot of those people are still family members and, friends from whenever that you may occasionally contact. And you ever thought about this? If some of those friends you haven't kept in touch with, you ever thought about what the real reason why, besides, we moved away and started new lives? They might not have liked you or might not have liked what you've become. And vice versa, you might not like what they become. So, that's where kind of the reset, it's not, it's not a form of rejection, so to speak. You're not rejecting anybody. You're helping yourself. And when you're, I'm by no means a marriage counselor. By no means. I mean, I know what it takes to have a good marriage because BabyDoll and I, we practice it every day. And by the way, we didn't start practicing it every day from day one, as we've talked about many, many times. And but our relationship, I can say very honestly, has gotten much, much stronger as time has gone by. Because you know what? We take resets. We take step backs and say, I'm sorry, why is this bothering you? Or vice versa. I'm sorry, why is this bothering you? And sometimes most of the time it's something little these days, but it used to be some kind of big thing. So don't be afraid to, try to do that. And don't be afraid about it because you'll get there. You'll make your relationships much better. I'll figure that out. This next topic is for marriage. Isn't that what I've been talking about? I mean, I told you, I just don't go by scripts, guys. Friendships and family, word I can't say, moment. Okay, I can talk about this a little bit. So it's 2026. Tasha says this a lot, BabyDoll Tasha. She says, you know what? I'm trying to opening up new doors to greater, bigger, and better things. Think about that. Take a chance. Take a chance. If your life's not where you want it, if you're not where you want to be in your life, take a chance. Take a chance with someone. Take a chance in business. Take a chance in, whatever you think can make your life forward. But you know what? I will tell you this, because I haven't said it yet tonight. Start with God. I did. And by the way, I never thought I would be on live, social media, talking about God. Matter of fact, if some of my friends happen to pick up on this, they're going to say, that's not the Darren Martin I knew. It definitely wasn't the Darren Martin I knew. I never saw this coming. Of course, you know what? Nobody else thought I could stay sober for 8 years too. A lot of over-under bets lost on that. And that means how long I would stay sober. I guarantee you no one gave me, the people that really, really knew me when I quit drinking, probably, I bet one guy gave me a chance to make it more than a month. And the rest of them, they thought it was maybe a week, 2 weeks. I guarantee you that's where 98% of those bets were placed. But, and by the way, I didn't do it to show them I could do it. I did it for myself. I I did it for myself. And that's what everybody that's fighting an addiction needs to say, just that. I'm not doing this for other people. I'm doing it for myself first. First step, God. So just remember that. And by the way, you do it for yourself first, all the other things are going to fall right in your life. They're just going to, it just comes in and it falls into place. It really does. So keep your head up. But, I say a lot of things. If I'm going around and around here, well, I'm by myself. I can't help it. So anyway, but opening new doors, and don't open doors that are unhealthy. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Why open up a door to something that is not going to work or has a very, very slim chance of working? I'll give you the best example I could think of. You open up a door, and maybe you ladies out there are looking for a man, and you think you may have found one, and so you open the door there. You think you may have found one, and you start taking the next steps, whatever that might be, and trying to develop the relationship. And then you find out that he's got a record. He's got something. He abuses women. He's got a temper. Anything. You know what? That's an unhealthy door. And if you know that before you go into it, you definitely shouldn't open it. So that's kind of how I think about those things. And by the way, men, for you, if you think about going to a relationship with a woman and she just got divorced for the 6th time, tread lightly. I'm not sure I'd open up that door. 6 times, that's a lot. And by the way, I know someone who's been divorced 6 times. But yet, they keep coming in. And he's not rich, so I don't know why they're going, oh, what happened? Excuse me, I'm fighting allergies really bad, so my voice sounds funny. Well, it always does anyway. But anyway, you've heard us talk about this. Remove all the chaos you possibly can. Don't jump back in it. Don't create a problem. That's just creating chaos. You know why people do that? Because they're comfortable with it. They're comfortable living in chaos. And most of the time, they don't even realize they're doing it because that's all they've done all their lives is lived in chaos. You say you're a part of a group. And matter of fact, I see this situation a lot. Say you're a part of a group and you're all trying to start a business. And y'all have type A personalities. So y'all want to be leaders. And when one person actually really is a leader, when they step up and start letting things work and they start getting a following, what happens to the other people? They get jealous. So what do? They start complaining about the person that's actually doing a good job. You know what? If you're one of those people that starts complaining about that person that's absolutely doing a fantastic job, check the mirror. Check the mirror. The reason why those people are following that person is because they're doing a good job. They're providing leadership. And by the way, good leaders usually don't even know they're good leaders. They go at it, and the people that follow them, they enjoy life, and the people that are sitting in the background saying, I want to be her or him, you know what? They're wasting their time. You should ask that person, how did you do this? Can you help me? Instead of complain about it. I see that a lot, and it drives me nuts. But, y'all get my drift. So, Heather, you had to learn how to relax and let go. Yeah. I mean, amen. Amen. And I'm guilty of this. I get pretty uptight, or not uptight, that's kind of wrong. I get pretty anxious about some of the silliest stuff. And sometimes it's like, BabyDoll, she'll do the same thing. And one thing we tell each other a lot is, hey, take a step back. It's not that big a deal. I say it's not that big a deal quite a bit. She says something else, but it means the same thing. And honey, that's stupid. Why are you thinking about that? And I'll say, I don't know. You know, so yeah, take a step back and learn how to relax. Thanks, Heather, for chipping in on that. I wish I knew who other people were out there, but I'm lucky just to have a couple of these up. The TikTok thing was something to do with my phone, so I'm sorry about that. It wasn't set up right or whatever. But next time I'm by myself, because I might have this again. I'll have it figured out. As a matter of fact, I think I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and if those are one and the same, I don't know. So anyway, here we go. Partnership without a power struggle. I'm going to read these first, and we'll talk about it. So, declarations. Kind of talked about chaos, but as a person, here's what this book says: you declare love without manipulation. Number one. Number two, connection without control. Number three, partnership without power struggle. Kind of just said that. Kind of just went through that story. Partnership without a power struggle. If you're a partnership and it's all about I'm the boss, no, I'm the boss type of thing, what's the point? You can both be the bosses, or you can both say whatever. I mean, I never understood that. I'm the boss. He'll do what I say. She'll do what I say. I never understood that, because if that's the case, it's probably not going to work out. Peace without walking on eggshells. So, and I can relate to this quite a bit. So, prior to BabyDoll, and maybe even somewhat early on before we both quit drinking, because y'all know we met at the bar, we were drunk, blah blah blah, and when we get into fights, it'd be ugly. It'd be ugly, and I can tell you, 95% of it was alcohol, 5% it was about something that probably didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But you throw in alcohol or anything else into the equation, they're just ugly. But I remember when we were towards the end of our drinking days, I remember that I get all stressed out. I get all super stressed out because I did not want to get drunk. I wanted to drink, but I didn't want to get drunk, and I didn't want her to get drunk, because I knew it was going to end up in a fight, and it was going to be very stressful. My heartbeat would race. My anxiety would go skyrocketing. And by the way, it'd do that for other things too, besides that. But, that's kind of what it means by walking on eggshells. So if you're sitting there trying to have a conversation with your significant other, and you want to go out to a bar / restaurant / bar to work it out, man, I would try something else just from experience. I was in a relationship, and I kind of joke about it, but I was in a relationship before BabyDoll, and it was kind of one I mentioned last night. I wish I never would have got into it, but whoa, you want to talk. I was afraid of setting her off just by any little stupid thing. And that, by walking on eggshells, that is no way to go through life. It's just not. So, if you're in that situation, do your best to get out of it. Do your best to get out of it. Reset the situation, right? So, man, I've talked 35 minutes so far. I'm kind of proud of myself. I didn't think I was going to make it 15. So, let's see. I was hoping y'all had some questions, but anyway, maybe y'all decide not to watch because BabyDoll's not on tonight. I get it. I'd rather look at her than me too, so no big deal. But Oh, thanks, Danielle. I'm doing the best I can. But this kind of says we're at the end. Um, you know what? I like this. So, people out there looking for miracles, looking for a miracle. What's that mean? It can mean many things. It could mean I'm hoping to find I'll be silly, hoping to find a big bag of money that has $3 million cash in it and it's not connected to anybody. You can keep it. By the way, that's more for me, but and it's much bigger than 3 million. So you know, it could be uh, you're looking for a miracle to save your relationship. So sometimes, people are. By the way, I would say that the first thing I'd say to those people, if you're not listening to God or praying to God or asking God for help, start with that. Start with that. I say that about a lot of things. Get over addictions, start with God. Want to improve your relationships, start with God. Looking for a miracle with $10 million cash? Okay, not a little reach here, but start with God. Because he'll give you the guidance he'll give you, if you follow his guidance, you are actually taking the steps for miracles to possibly come true. If I'll throw the $10 million out. However, I've done that before. So, and I'm no smart guy. I'm just a hillbilly from Iowa that happens to be in Texas, but been here a long, long time. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be. You don't have to be anything special. All you need to do is start with God, take a chance, open the door to God, and you'll get. You have a chance. You have a way better chance of getting to where you want to be by doing that first than you ever will without doing that. Think about that. Let that set in. I'm gonna bring this subject up to you just a little bit. It's kind of off subject, but I've talked to the Israel. How are you doing, buddy? I've talked about this in the past. I haven't brought it up lately, but I'm not a big believer in. Well, how do I say this? I'm not a big believer on what kind of church you go to, whether you're Catholic, whether you're Lutheran, whether you're any other names, Baptist, what have you. It doesn't matter to me. I really don't care. Worshiping God is where it starts. Some people are more comfortable in Catholic churches. Some people like the denominational church. That would be me, by the way. I love the ones we go to. And, it's just, to me, it just doesn't matter. Some people, you're not Catholic. Oh, I can't date you. Come on. To me, that's a step too far. I think you'll work it out and come together on something that you're mutual about. You come to an agreement and say, yes, I can do this. You can do this. Great. We're after a good start. But it starts with God. So I kind of went off a little topic there. But you kind of know where I stand on that. Sometimes the miracle is not a new person. Oh, I know there's someone better out there for me. I know there is. Well, there might be. I'll say it that blunt. There might be. But again, going back to the mirror, look at yourself first because you might be the problem, right? So, old love. You know what? Old love is great love. You know why old love is love? Because you should know that person inside and out if you've been with them for a long, long time. And you know what? That miracle is not getting rid of your old love and looking for a new person. The grass is always greener on the other side. Bull, you know what? It's not. Most of the time, it's not greener on the other side. If you're the, I'll talk for me. If I was the same drinking uh, guy that went to the bar every single day, and went through a divorce and a couple other relationships that didn't work out, and I tell you, it was all drinking, drinking, drinking on both our ends for the most part. That was number one. You know what? A new person, if you don't change your ways, a new person is not going to work. BabyDoll and I talk about how we met in the bar and how we have gone on our life together by improving our lives, by overcoming our addictions, by overcoming our issues and isms, no matter what they are. We work it out, and Danielle, you're right. The first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem. A lot of people just can't do that. And it just perplexes me how they just can't do it. I'll sit here on how many people are watching me. I have no idea. Hopefully a lot. I don't mind admitting it. You know why I don't mind admitting it? Because I think it helps me when I admit it to people. I got a problem, Sorry guys, sorry people. I just can't. I just can't do it. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you have a problem. Nothing to anybody, by the way. And if you're uncomfortable talking to anybody, start with God. Start with God. Say, dear God, I have a problem. Whatever it is, talk about it. And you know what? You'd be surprised how just that alone might help. But anyway, I'm reading this stuff and I have no clue what it's saying. So I hope you're all enjoying that. But anyway, this ain't complicated. So this is a good line. And I'm kind of leading y'all into it because I think it's an important line. It starts off with your significant other. A good way to start any kind of conversation is, I love you. Say, I love you. And these next few words are kind of key, next three words. Let's start again. It doesn't have to be a marriage. It can be a simple problem. If you're having an argument, stop. Say, I love you. Let's start over again. Remember those words because they can be used in a lot of different ways. Let's start over again. I mean, I've said that in business things, not the I love you part, but I've said, whoa, hey, we're all over the map here. Let's start again. Okay, start with the A. Okay, what comes next? B. What comes after that? C. D. You start putting a plan together, and I got my business associates involved. Guess what? It's no longer chaos. We're actually putting a plan together. So think about that. It works in relationships. It absolutely works in relationships. I don't see why it's not. If someone says that's not possible, tell me why. So anyway, guys, I made it 40. If I pause, it'll be 45 minutes. But I hope you're all getting something from this. Like, share, subscribe. BabyDoll will be back with me tomorrow. That's kind of cool how I said that. But we'll be together again tomorrow. It's kind of hard doing this without BabyDoll. I got to admit, kind of bounce it. I feel more comfortable with my best friend and the love of my life right next to me to talk to you. You know why? Because it's just more fun, number one. And number two, I think we get, Kimberly, work on yourself because the other person is not going to fix you. Make you happy if you aren't happy with yourself. Amen, Kimberly. Amen. That's, it's kind of the message I've been trying to preach. I don't know how effective it was, but, trying to preach basically all night. But, I think I already said this, but, like, share, subscribe. Check out BabyDoll's websites, babydollsboutique.com. And BabyDolls is BabyDollz. My good friend Melissa put them on here on the chats, I believe. But but there's some cool clothing out there. We've sold a lot of it. We need to sell a lot more because I paid for it. But here's I think some of the comments we've gotten, and I'm just going to address this. Maybe the pricing's a little high. Well, let me tell you why it's a little high. We're not trying to make money on this. We are definitely not trying to make money on this. The proceeds that we make on this, they go to our sober living home that helps women. We try to help women get over addictions, get away from abusive marriages or abusive relationships. You name it, we will help them. And the most important part of this, we provide them a very nice place that's very safe and a good way for them to reset their lives. So, I know everybody that I've spoken with on here, and a lot of you that I haven't spoken with you on here. I know people that need some kind of help like that. We focus on women mainly because it's BabyDoll. It was BabyDoll's. It's BabyDoll's baby, if that makes sense. She needed a lot of help. She came out of an abusive relationship. She was fortunate enough to get help from a lot of people. And we were fortunate enough to meet, and I had all my issues, as you know about, but together we came out all of it. But she didn't have a safe place to live for a little while. She was kind of bouncing around from friend to friend to the house for a little bit of time. And so to kind of return the favor, she wants to help those same type of people. So do I. She always tells me I'm a big softie. Well, I am. I'm a big softie. I got no problem saying that. I'm a big softie, and I love helping people. If I help one person in any way, whether it's advice, give them a couple bucks to buy a cheeseburger, if I could do that once a day, I'm having a good day. Y'all try the same. If y'all, oh, by the way, where it's going with it, y'all know someone that needs that kind of help. Reach out to us. All BabyDoll's emails were posted earlier. I would tell you, but I'm not sure I know him. Typical guy. So that's about all I'm going to have for tonight. Oh, there's Melissa. She's posting thelimitedladies.org. Yes. Click on those links. Great stuff. A lot of information. Melissa, y'all know our relationship with Real Talk Kim and Limitless Church, based out of Fayetteville, Fayetteville, Georgia, which is south of Atlanta. That's BabyDoll follows Kim religiously, and I actually do from a distance. I do religiously. I'll just say it. Melissa, tell Kim that so she can, give me some pats on the backs or whatever. And but anyway, it's Limitless Ladies. The way I describe it, it's where a group of ladies get together, and you know what? They help each other help themselves. That's kind of what I like about it. And they come up with some, all that kind of stuff allows us to help more people. Allows the people that shows up to go out and help more people. The more people we help, the more people, if I help 5 people, I'm hoping that one of those 5 will go out and help someone else, kind of build the family tree, if you know what I mean, pass it forward, pass it down, pass it everywhere. So you actually, yes, follow PK. I know you follow PK, Kimberly. Sorry, I read that wrong. Oh, that's how you found BabyDoll. Okay, cool. Yes, BabyDoll will be back tomorrow. I promise. I'll be with her. We'll have more to talk about, and maybe a new topic to talk about. But y'all, thank you for your time. Thanks for bearing with me. Hopefully I did okay, and thank you for the nice compliments out there. And last but not least, have yourself a great night. Sleep tight, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care, y'all.